Hey guys, Hamsterwheel Gaming here with a new video, and since I've been playing on my Shaman a lot, I decided to do a few extra videos for elemental shamans. So in this video I'll be talking about getting ready for Karazhan in terms of gear. Please do note that this is not a best in slot list, because I've seen a few lists and I think some items on those lists are a little bit overkill for Karazhan. So yeah, I decided to make up my own lists. Now, obviously, I know that best in slot means that it's the best item for that slot that you could possibly have before doing Karazhan or whatever. But some of the items, I just think you don't really need them, and I think the alternative that I will show you will do just fine. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. It's my personal recommendations. You might have a better suggestion or whatever, and if you have one, then feel free to leave that in the comment section below. Alright, let's get going. And we're going to start off with the headpiece. For this slot I've chosen the Shamanistic Helmet of Second Sight. It's probably the best pre-epic item for shamans that you can get, and it only requires you to do a few quests in Shadowmoon Valley, so no dungeons required, which is kind of nice. However, it is important to know that in order to complete one of these quests you will need a flying mount to reach one of the quest mobs. Or you could get a warlock and 2 buddies to summon you there, but just keep that in mind if you want to go for this item. The quest chain that you will need to do starts with the quests A Haunted History for the Horde and A Ghost in a Machine for the Alliance. For the neck I'm going to choose the item that I've recommended before, and it's the Torque of the Sethic Prophet. It has some good spell damage, but mainly a lot of crits, and as an elemental shaman, crit is your best friend. So basically you will get this item by completing the quest Brother Against Brother, and on the Phoenix server this quest is bugged and it's instantly completed, so it's just a matter of going to the place where Sethic Halls is, I believe it's called Auchendon, and getting the quest and completing it just for your blue necklace, so that's pretty damn nice. Alright, the shoulders, we're gonna delve into the loot that you can get from dungeons. This particular item might actually be best in slot for Karazhan, even though I'm not sure. But just the sheer amount of spell damage and crit make these shoulders worth the trouble. I'm talking of course about the Pauldrons of Wild Magic. They drop in Slave Pen's Heroic, and I've done that instance a few times on my Shaman to get these shoulders, and the instance itself is actually pretty easy. And one complete run took me an average of 30 to 40 minutes because you can actually skip a fair bit of mobs there, which is kind of nice. So that is my suggestion for the shoulder slot. Alright, for the cloak I've chosen the Ogre Slayer's cover. Simply because it's easily obtainable, because it only requires you to do like 3 quests in Vagrant, and it has a lot of crit for a cloak, which is actually really nice because there are a few cloaks that you can get through questing. But none of those really have the amount of crit that this cloak has, so this is a nice one to get. Okay, we've arrived at the chest piece. For the chest piece, I really only have one item I would recommend you to get, and that is the Netherstrike Breastplate. This item is part of a 3-piece armor set that you will be able to craft with leatherworking. Now, there are several reasons why I think you should go for this chest piece. Reason number 1, the stats are insane and are almost on par with tier 5 gear, which is really nice. Reason number 2, if you go for this item you can also go for the epic Netherstrike braces and belts. But I will talk about those items in a moment. And reason number 3 is drums. If you're thinking about doing more raids than just Karazhan, you will soon realize that haste will become more and more important as you get better gear. And with leatherworking you will be able to make these, the Drums of Battle. These give you 80 haste rating, but not just you, the whole party gets it, which is really damn nice. In fact, it's so good that some professional raiding guilds here on Phoenix, such as Fused and I think Symphony as well, require you to go leatherworking solely for these items. I mean, I've even seen clothy casters with leatherworking just to get these Drums of Battle, because it's just a giant boost to your party. So those are the 3 reasons why I think you should go leatherworking and get the Netherstrike Breastplate. And the bracers, well, that's a pretty obvious choice because I just talked about the Netherstrike set piece, and the next item is the Netherstrike Belt. If you manage to get the breastplate, getting the braces will be as simple as either farming or buying the mats from the auction house. And again, this item is on par with tier 5 gear. Get it. Just get it. Okay, now for the weapon. I had a bit of a dilemma and I ended up choosing Terek's Shadow Staff. Now I know, a shield and a main hand are usually better for a shaman, since the shield gives you a big armor boost. But if you're really going PvE, then that's not really that important. I mean, it's nice for when you over aggro, but let's just say you are smart enough not to do that. If that's the case, then the staff will do just fine. I know that there's an epic mace called the Gavel of Unearthed Secrets with a blue shield, and it will probably be a little bit better with the staff, or than the staff. However, the Gavel is obtained by getting exalted with lower city, and this is not exactly easy, and it will take you a lot of time. The staff, on the other hand, is very easily obtainable and has some great stats. On the Phoenix server, you can actually go to Sethek Hall's Heroic and get to the last boss in about 10 minutes, because you can bug through a gate, and once you get past that gate, you're able to just walk right up to the boss, so it takes like 15 minutes to get there. That's why you see so many last boss runs for Sethek Hall's Heroic, if you've ever paid attention to world chat. The only downside to the staff is that there are a lot of casters running Sethek Hall just to get the staff. But then again, you can basically do this dungeon. It will take you 15 minutes and you'll have a chance to get the staff. It sounds much better than doing shadow labs over and over and over again just to get exalted for the mace. So my recommendation for the weapon is the Terek's Shadow Staff. Okay, the totem was my easiest decision because there's really only one totem that really focuses on elemental shamans that drops in 5-man dungeons, and that's the Totem of the Void. Not much to say about this item, lots of extra damage for lightning spells, and it drops in the Mechanar from Cache of the Legion. That's pretty much it. Get that one. Alright, we've arrived at the trinkets. I'm obviously gonna choose 2, and I wasn't quite sure which to choose because there's a lot of options and choices. There's a lot of choice, but I've narrowed it down to these 2. First of all, Xeri's Gift. If you level up your character, chances are you will be choosing between Scryer and Eldar. Now, as a caster, or more specifically an elemental shaman, I advise you to go Scryer, but I'll talk about that in a few minutes. Basically, if you gain rep with Scryer, you will also gain rep for the Shatar, and if you want to get exalted with the Scryers for the epic ring, then you will probably get revered with the Shatar. So once you're exalted, it's a simple case of going to the Shatar Quartermaster and buying this trinket for like 30 gold. Not to mention, 32 extra spell crit on a trinket is really, really nice. Now, for the second trinket, I wanted to recommend Shifar's Nexus Horn, but it drops in Heroic Arcatraz, and everyone on the Phoenix server hates running Heroic Arcatraz, and for a good reason, because it's bugged beyond comprehension. So instead, I'm gonna recommend the trinket you get from when you hit Revered with the Scryer's Blood Gem. Some elemental shamans believe that you don't need any extra spell hit because your talents and totems will give you enough. But I tend to disagree, since I've run Karazhan, Gruul's Lair, and Magtheridon several times with my elemental shaman, and I've seen multiple spell resists, and if there's something you don't want as a DPS, it's your spells getting resisted. So a little bit of extra spell hit will come in handy. So in a nutshell, I advise you to get the Xeri's Gift and Scryer's Blood Gem. Okay, for the rings it's pretty simple. The first one I'm going to recommend is the Band of Dominion, which you can pick up from the auction house for around 20 gold. Yep, that's pretty much it. I think it's pretty obvious why you should get this ring. It has a ton of spell damage, but more importantly, a ton of spell crit. And for only 20 gold, it's an absolute bargain. So that's my first ring I would like to recommend. The second one is the Seer's Signet, which you will get from hitting Exalted with the Scryers. So I talked about the trinket from Scryers and the trinket from the Shatar, and how you get the trinket from Shatar if you hit Exalted with Scryers. Well, basically you can get 3 items from one rep grind, if you will. That is the trinket from Scryers, the trinket from Shatar, and this epic ring. And now, if you just look at the stat, it's quite obvious why I chose this, because it has a huge amount of spell damage for an epic ring and nice bit of crit. It's a little unfortunate that it doesn't have any intellect, but still, it is really, really nice, so get that. Alright, for the boots, I'm going to recommend the Moonstrider boots. And yes, I know, these are leather boots that were originally intended for Moonkins, but the equivalent male boots for Elemental are actually not that great in my opinion. And I just love these boots because they bring so much to the table. Spell crit, spell damage, mana every 5 seconds, and a fair bit of stamina and intellect. The boots drop in Sethic Halls, and the great thing about these boots is that they drop in both normal and heroic. So if you don't really feel like doing a full Sethic Halls heroic run, you can basically kick back and do a normal run. So that's kind of nice. Alright, the legs. For this item slot I've chosen the Storm Song Kilt, which drops from the Black Stalk in heroic Underbog. It has the most important stats you want as an elemental shaman. It has crit, spell damage, intellect, and a bit of stamina. Not only that, it has 3 sockets which will allow you to get even more spell damage and crit, which is just plain awesome. I actually prefer these leggings over the tier 4 leggings, even though yes, I'm wearing them in this video. And that's basically because the tier 4 leggings do not have any crit at all, just nothing, which really kind of sucks. Also, the heroic Underbog is not really that hard and it won't take you heaps of time. So yeah, go for this item, the Storm Song Kilt. Alright, we're almost there, 2 items left, and this time the belt. And for the belt I'm coming back to the Nether Strike set, which is the Nether Strike belt. And I think I've made quite clear why you should go for this item, and preferably the whole set. So yeah, get this, start grinding. Okay, and the very last item slot, the gloves. And for this item slot I've chosen the Thundercaller gauntlets. And just like the Band of Dominion, this is an item you can pick up from the auction house for about 30 gold. I really like these gloves because they're so cheap and give you a good amount of spell damage and crit, and all that for 30 seconds of going to the auction house and 30 gold for actually buying it. Sounds like a steal to me. It sure is. So yeah, get these get these gloves. And that's pretty much it. That's the complete item list I think you should get as an elemental shaman if you're planning on doing Karazhan or similar raids such as Gruul's Lair or Mactarian or something like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to thank you for watching this video. I am Hamsterwheel Gaming, and have a good one.